Good afternoon. Okay, if you're going to make me burn an entire 15-second slide just on getting you to respond to me, I'm going to do that. Come on. Good afternoon. That's okay, right? Because you guys are from the place that they make that TV show about. I mean, come on. Like, I would expect you to be like here and on it. So, hi, my name is David Blank-Edelman. I am the technical evangelist at Apsera, and my job is to see if I can get you to get riled up after this talk. You know, listen to the other talks and go run to the vendor space, go to your open source projects, and demand something. Does anyone know where the slide's from? Somebody does. Young Frankenstein? Okay, so here's my contention. I'm just going to start at the end. My contention is that production environments are all about trust, right? You have to know what your workloads contain, what resources can they consume, where do they run, what they talk to, and in order to do stuff like that, you need to have some way to represent that. And my answer is that you want to use policy. And I know that's a dirty word, and I know that when you think policy, you think things that are inherently not sexy. So here is our marketing slide on what it looks like. And just out of curiosity, given that that's, well, I think we're gonna have to pass that slide. I had another way to make this slide even sexier, which was to play a song, which I'll play it later, I guess. So let's move on since we get that. So the question is, does your environment look like this? Does your environment look like it's one long straight road? Is it a little curvy? Is it more like this bottom one here where it's zipping and zipping? One of the things I want you to note about all these pictures, and I think your environment probably looks more like this, chances are if the way to make your environment work well is to have these guardrails up here, because the theory is if you can write policy that provides these guardrails, you define what can and can't be done, and then the folks in your environment can go off and do stuff. Now, where does your policy live now? It probably lives perhaps in a department whose job it is to say no, like a customs agent, and the problem with that is that everything is so maximally slow because everything you have to ask for, it's a mother may I. That's one possibility. The other possibility is it's like the wild, wild west, where anybody with a credit card can do what they want, and your policy is hither and yon. It's in the wiki, it's in Bob or Susan's head, it's sitting in some script somewhere. And the problem with the wild, wild west is that people in the wild, wild west always take bullets. So the thing that I want to suggest is that what would be better would be something that would be pervasive, that would be explicit, so you could discuss what it is that you wanted to represent. And the key thing here, and that's where the picture comes from, is you want it to be automatically enforced. So what do I mean when I say pervasive? This is the sort of engineering part of this, which says, what do you want to pay attention to? You want to pay attention to resource limits. We talked about that, workload to workload connections, having things talk to each other, what comes into your system, what goes out of your system, how you move when someone has a URL to a workload, how do you make sure that follows you? You want to make sure that the components you're building out of, that you can specify. Talk a little bit about deployment. Logs tend to be a really tricky thing. Permissible operations between parts of stuff. And to be a little meta, you have to figure out who can edit your policy. So where do you find this stuff? And just so I don't leave you sort of like out in the woods, let me give you some idea where you find it. Now, the bad news is, one place that you don't find it is you typically don't find it from your platform provider. So if I were to show you some of the cloud providers that are out there, they don't have the granularity you're looking for. They have RBAC, but not roles that you particularly want to use, or this awesome thing from Google which says, congratulations, you get SSH. Or if anybody here is using IBM software, you know that you're in a land of checkboxes. And here's where I throw a little shade. Maybe you want it from your platform. Mesos doesn't really have much. OpenStack is getting there. They have something going there. Kubernetes is getting closer. And here's the only salesy thing I'll say, which is we've been thinking a lot about this, and if you want to talk more about this. So here is your own pitchfork and your own torch. What I'd like to suggest you do is take up this cause. If you think it is the case that machines should do what machines do best and people should do what they should do best, then my suggestion to you is go demand something like a policy system and everything. And what I'd like to encourage you to do, if you think this is an interesting idea, come find me. You can find me this way. And I want to just thank you for your time. Take care now.